think K.S. Bharat is going to get a little bit more of that.
The other thing is, when you see the ball, Pat Cummins caught that ball, which means it has hit him flush on the back of the helmet. Often it's glancing and it flies off to the boundary or flies, but that's flowing straight back. Watch on the replay in a second. The ball is flowing back to Pat Cummins, and from experience, that means it would have hit him flush in the back of the helmet and the head.
Well, this one didn't bounce as much as he was expecting, so he's turned his back on it, taken his eyes off the ball. And you're absolutely right. Look at that. He's not looking at the ball at all. And look where his front foot is. Look where his back foot is. This is everybody getting onto the front foot, irrespective of the length.
Well, I hope he's all right, because there are few more sickening sights in world cricket than someone getting hit hard on the helmet. There will be a concussion test. There will be helmets changed, new helmets coming out. That helmet can take the brunt once. It shouldn't be used again. But I'm so happy that the world is coming round to understanding the effects of concussion a lot more. Sometimes, amidst the bravado, amidst the machismo, you thought, that's nothing. I think you're realizing that that doesn't have a place in sport. Be pragmatic. And Goody's up there. Gloves on, helmet on, ready to have a crack again.
Well, it's good to see he's healthy. That's the main thing. We've seen some horrible incidents in history. It's nice to see him. Talk about history. This, like you say, Harsh, we've seen some incredible catches behind the wicket in this Test match. Cameron Green and Steve Smith, two hands, beautifully taken.
Well, even in the first innings, the catch that he took to get rid of Kohli, the ball jumped up high, timing of the jump so important. 157 catches he's got.
Yeah, on par with Mark Taylor, one of the great slip fielders. Mark Waugh, one of the great slip fielders. Ricky's way ahead there.
I'm sure there'll be discussion on who the man of the match will be. There's some, 5 for 184. We'll talk about it after the break.
And sometimes you look at bowling figures, don't you, and think, wow, he must have bowled $1 million balls. Wow, the genius. You look at Shane Warne and say, wow, he must have mesmerized. Look at Scott Boland. A little this and a little that. And that's enough at this level. Virat Kohli hadn't been beaten one ball before that over started. And all he's done is in, a little out, beaten once, edge once.
One of the things we've recognised with Scott Boland, he often takes 2 wickets in an over, and I think the reason for that is his length is so immaculate. And Sonny, there'd be no better person to answer this, but when you first come out to bat, you're looking to get on the front foot, or you're looking to get back and let the ball go. He puts such a perfect length all the time. You're not sure whether to play or leave, and that's why he gets wickets. It's very hard to face when you first come into bat.
And we saw that in the first innings as well, the way he had the in-form Shubman Gill shouldering arms and his off-stump being knocked back. Simply because, you know, that length was immaculate. He didn't know whether to play at it, didn't know whether to leave it.
Another part of the story of Scott Boland is that you most often think about the fast bowlers getting wickets when there's some life on the first innings. In Scott Boland's case, in second innings in Test cricket, he is averaging 8 runs per 8. He's averaging 8. Is extraordinary, and that's in the second innings. You usually think the spinners take wickets in the second innings, but Scott Boland, that shows what a workhorse he is.
Now probably going down the leg side. He's excited now.
He would be, because he's just got these 2 wickets. He knows that Ajinkya Rahane is the man who batted so well in the first inning, so maybe looking to go. Yes, they're taking a chance.
TV umpire to director, we have a player review for LBW. Original decision is not out. Front foot checked, it's a fair delivery. Front on spin vision, please, when available. Okay, looks like it may have missed the bat there. Could we get Ultra Edge to confirm that, please? Keep that rolling through. Keep it rolling through, please, Gavin. Thank you. Flat lines, the ball goes past the bat. No bat involved. Go to ball tracking when ready, please. Pitching outside off, impacting line and missing the wickets. Chris, you can stay with your original decision of not out. You're on screen. Signal now.
That's another review gone. Australia looking at these reviews like a millionaire might lose change. Just playing with it. Should we? Okay, nothing to lose. Let's take it. Neither's been a particularly good one, I must admit. 2 slips in the gully in the middle of this excellent spell from Scott Boland. 3 for 44. Well, what makes Scott Boland special?
Guys, we talked about the setup of Virat Kohli. Look at these 3 deliveries here. That one just a little bit of that extra bounce seemed away. That one seemed back in, and this was fuller and wider, and if anything, held its line and might have gone away. Now let's have a look at the subtle changes in grip from Scott Boland. That's those 3 deliveries there. One left of screen, extra bounce, more cross seam. It would have hit the seam and bounced. The one in the middle, pitched up, seam back. But look at the change of angle on the third one. He's actually tilted that seam towards the slips, looking for the ball, if anything, to go away from Virat Kohli after the ball before it darted back in. And that's exactly what it did. It almost reacted like an outswinger. It drew Virat Kohli into the shot because the ball before it nipped back in. This is high class from Boland. Almost like an outswinger type delivery, and what a catch it was from Steve Smith. But that's the great setup. That's the subtleties in variation that Scott Boland can create by just moving that seam around a little bit, just varying the seam angle, and all 3 of those balls reacted differently out of the hand and off the wicket. High class.
And as it was brilliant bowling, brilliant analysis from Ricky Ponting. That was...
He'll be delighted to hear that after all the grief you've been giving him off the field, off the box. Nah, it's just 2 friends. 49 gone, 186 for 5. Cameron Green. They make them tall in Australia, these seam bowlers. Average of 33. He's got 25 wickets. A wicket or 2 per game. That's not bad if you're just coming in and helping out the others. You're playing a different role. That was wonderful from Ricky Ponting. The question I'm sure a lot of you watching would like answered from the 2 top order batters that we have is what we saw was from behind the bowlers, behind the bowler. Always easier picking from behind the bowler. How easy it is a batter from 18, 19 yards away to pick which one is doing what.
Well, the first thing I'd say is that the two most important things in batting are one, having a balanced stance, which is a still head, and the second is to see the ball released out of the fingers. The difficulty with seam bowling is, whilst Scotty Boland there would have changed the different angles of the seam, when the ball seams, you've really got no idea which way it's going to. It could come back in, could go away. In contrast, it's easier to play a swing bowler because you can maybe see the swing or the shiny side of the ball. So you can set up for swing bowling, but it is almost impossible to set up for seam bowling because if the bowler doesn't know which way it's going to seam, sure as eggs, the batsman's not going to know where it's going to seam. So that's why batting on green wickets is often difficult because of the seam rather than the swing.
Yeah, I think generally you look to see from the release of the ball what the bowler is planning to do. The wrist position sometimes is the giveaway. So the wrist position, for the outswinger would be pretty much straight like this. But for the in-swinger, the wrist position will be slightly different. So that's what you saw with Jadeja's dismissal. Or if I might just show, when it's the outswinger, the wrist position will be like this. So literally the wrist position will be more towards the first slip, and then when you're looking to bowl the in-swinger, it'll be the wrist will be more pointing towards, say, the left side of the wicket keeper, the left hand of the wicket keeper. So that is generally the indication. But we've seen when the ball lands on the seam, sometimes it can move the other way. Sometimes it happens, particularly in England. You might want to bowl an outswinger. Ball nips back after it pitches. So the intention of the bowler when he releases is to bowl the in-swinger, but after it pitches, outswinger, after it pitches, it can come back in.
Yeah, on a television camera, sometimes you see the slow motion. We're all sitting at home on a big TV screen. We're watching it. You're 19 yards away, and the hand is moving pretty quickly, by the way. You have a split second less sometimes to check that wrist position.
Yes, but then that's why you're good enough to play Test cricket, because that's where you are able to fathom more than anybody else, and that's why you open the batting. You will obviously not do it every time. You will be bowled, shouldering arms like we've seen, or playing at deliveries that you shouldn't be playing.
Keep that going. It's a very interesting conversation. This 50 overs gone, 187 for 5. That is absolutely no use. You can draw all the rain you want. We have a reserve day. It is the mind of the fans. Sometimes that is such a fascinating thing to learn as well. Lots of blue still. Lots of blue. It's not as bright and hot as it was a little while ago. Maybe a little humid, but not as hot as it was this morning, just before play started. Now challenge here for Kona Bharat. Still only 2 slips gully. Still a cover out. Still a mid-wicket out. Still a third man out. Important spell for Stark. Australia's so far ahead in this game, but Australia really needs Stark to get into rhythm.
Scott Boland, what a start to his international career, and what his start to being back in England for the first time. And of course, every fast bowler, every great spin bowler, it's not just about what they do, they also need their catches. They need the catches to be able to take, whether they're speckies or simple catches. The fielding is so important for the success of any bowler.
Absolutely, and that man on your screen just a second or two ago, Steve Smith, he's taken some amazing catches. Incredible. He bends down quite low, which to me is the key. A lot of the fielders tend to stand with their hands on their knees, but now he'll bend down low. That's fine. He starts with that. See.
And Sonny, this won't surprise you about Steve Smith. He practices so much catching. He loves it. He loves his fielding. And look, here's the examples here. That's a great catch. And both innings, more significant. Look who's batting. The little master. So they have even more significance to take great catches, to get rid of the best players. And that's what the best teams do. Not only bowl well, not only make runs, they also field brilliantly. And Steve Smith leads that.
How well Scott Boland's adapted. He's only ever toured England once before, and that was a completely different level of cricket. There's a fielder in the deep, and he will keep it down to a single. Only ever come here with an Australian Aboriginals 11. Scott Boland played one game here, and now comes at the age of 34 as an Australian Test player. Every single day that he comes onto the ground must be a party, must be a blessing.
He is. He's living the dream. But it also tells me, Harsh, that even at the Test level, basics, 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 basics. Get the basics right. We talk about catching. We talk about Scott Boland adjusts easily because his basic is he hits the same line and length so well, so consistently. And we go back to facing the bowling from our last over, seeing the ball out of the bowler's hand. Viv Richards once told me, watch the ball like a hawk from the fingers onto your bat. Basics of the game.
Yeah, you absolutely got to watch it. And I think what you also want to do is from the non-strikers end, from the non-strikers end, try and get a bit of an idea. Is there something where the bowler is doing in his run-up as he's thinking? Because the bowler, as he's walking back to his run-up, is thinking, which ball should I be bowling? So is there some nervous stick? Or if somebody wants to bowl the googly, the wrong one, does he do something different?
There are a few Aussies in the stands today, but I think the general ratio is the same ratio as the populations of our countries. 190 for 5.
Aldi's tender Aussie pork loin is Greek style and fit for the gods. Or Kevin.
Thanks.
Now only $15.99 a kilo. Aldi, good, different.
It starts Monday at the special time, 7 o'clock.
Go, go, go. I need a machete.
No rats! 100 players, $1 million.
It's us against them. We go in and we fight till the death.
From the creator of The Voice and Big...
Yeah, the morning brought with it a lot of hope, possibility among the Indian fans. And part of the reason was Virat Kohli was playing magnificently, hadn't played a fall shot, hadn't been beaten once. And it required a great catch, absolutely great catch, to complete the process of getting him out.
Yes, and we all talked about the setup. It was very nicely done, no question about it. The in-swinger, the one that left the bat, and then the slightly wideish drivable delivery. That is a real corker of a delivery from Cameron Green. But I do believe that batters, when they know they're near a landmark, tend to do something to try and get to that landmark. So we saw that in the first innings with Jadeja. He was batting so well on 48 and then pushed his bat out because he thought he could run the ball down. and was caught in the slips. If he wasn't on 48, he might not have even played that ball. He might have left it. Then we saw Kohli on 49 chase a delivery outside the off stump. He'd shown so much discipline, but then it's that thing, oh, one run, I get to a half century, get to another half century. Landmarks, milestones, and you choose the wrong ball because, you know, you want to get to that. Wrong ball to play, wrong shot selection. It happens so often,
And when they make those mistakes, you make the kids in the crowd cry.
All part of being a fancy and a kid. You give everything in. I'll tell you, when I was 10, 11 years old when Sonny first started batting, switched off the radio. Did not want, we used to normally carry the transistor around. The transistor was put away in a corner. I didn't even want to see it. But here's something interesting about what Sonny said. And Justin, I don't know if you know. Did you know exactly what score you were on when you were batting? Because Sonny's often said that he had no idea how much he was batting on.
Attacking those stumps there, Cameron Green. I think it's a lot to do with different personalities, Harsh. I knew exactly how many runs I was on. Whereas my batting partner, Matty Hayden, who's with us, of course, all this week, he never knew. He said it was a distraction.
Exactly. It can be terrific effort that from the forward chocolate fielder, Travis said. But if you don't know how many you are, you play each ball on its merits. Batters sometimes, you know, set little targets. Look, I want to get to 10. But if you're on 7 or 6, you look to hit a boundary to get to 10. So then you're looking at the next 20 target. Nice shot. Beautiful shot that from Bharat. Got into position so nicely. Nice big strike forward and played it brilliantly.
And not a half volley either. That's on the up. Lovely balance, lovely hands, 4 runs. Beautiful shot.
What's that cliche that everyone talks about? It's about the journey, not the destination. You set yourself constant targets. I need to get so much and I need to get so much. Maybe you're carried away by the destination. Different people have different ways of playing it. It's up to you to figure out what works best for you. We'll keep the strike with a single. 52 gone. It's 195 for 5. It's time for drinks and an hour. That's gone Australia's way. In an hour they'll be very, very satisfied with.
Well, just the morning so far that Australia wanted. Kohli and Rahane together in partnership. Formidable drawing to the close of play last night, but 2 wickets in the over from Scott Boland, and Kohli gone. It's taken the air out of everything for the Indian fans, but that was an absolute screamer. Ricky Ponting by Steve Smith.
He's very, very good in there. I said on comms before, Ali, he's going to go down as one of the all-time great batsmen, but he should be remembered for his slips catching as well. It's outstanding. The amount of times you see him move that far like that and hang on to great catches is quite remarkable. What we did see this morning was some great skill from Scott Boland as well. There wasn't a lot happening early on. He stuck to his guns, just kept hitting the area, ball after ball. He rotated his seam angle a little bit, looking for a little bit of extra wobble seam, and he got it. A great setup of Virat Kohli led to his wicket, and then second ball, Jadeja pushed it one from around the wicket and got a feather on it to Alex Carey.
DK, how optimistic or otherwise are you feeling at this moment?
Morning, Ali. Morning, Ricky. I think Virat Kohli's dismissal, followed up with Jadeja's dismissal, has literally blown India out of the water at this point of time. They would be a bit dejected. This is exactly what they didn't want to see, and on the other hand, exactly what Australia wanted.
The Indian supporters got to believe that with Rahane, there is hope still. We saw Thakur play quite a brilliant counter-attacking hand with him in India's first innings.
Very true, Ali. I think they're clutching at straws right now, and they need to be for some time, because they have shown us they're determined, they're very resilient. It'll take a lot of skill as well coming in today.
It's Stark to continue. See if they can make further inroads in this morning session. Just 5 more wickets. It's the mace. It's some hefty prize money. It's to be Test champions. It's very wide of the crease. Too much of an angle. Well, the mace, we've seen it lifted by New Zealand. Oh, that is a beautiful trophy. Design, Ricky, well, it's a ball inside of that cage where the countries of the world are depicted, then all the badges of the country you can see wrapping around that cage, and designed to replicate the idea of a stump being held aloft in celebration.
The ICC are pretty protective of that mace too. I've done a bit of promotional stuff leading up to this game, and I was trying to get my hands on it, and I was there to pick it up.
Brings Boland into play.
Quite often there's always a game within a game. I think this is a really important spell here for Mitchell Stark. Thinking about what Scott Boland's done in this game. Hazelwood, I saw Hazelwood bowl for about an hour this morning pre-game. Looks like he's going to be fit for the start of the Ashes series. Hasn't quite been at his best this game. So this is a big spell for him. I like the fact now that he's gone around the wicket. When there's no swing for Mitchell Stark, which there hasn't been much at all through the course of this game, this is his next best defensive option, is to get around the wicket. And when I say defensive, it works both ways. I think he's less likely to leak a lot of runs with this angle coming back into the right-hander, and I think it gives him even more wicket-taking options, angling back in towards the stumps. So here in England, as a left-armer at his sort of pace, if you don't get the line exactly right, the ball flies off the bat. And that's what we've seen from Mitchell Stark right through this game. Hasn't quite been at his best, hasn't played any cricket for about 3 months coming to the UK, which was the plan for this Australian team. They didn't want any practice games when they got here, so therefore they knew that there'd be a little bit of rust on some of their players coming into the game. Travis Head handled it pretty well, coming in without any cricket, but if you look at what Stark, and probably even Cummins to a certain degree, they've just been a little bit rusty, which is fine, considering what they've got coming up in the summer.
Oh, that is beautifully played. Full face of the bat from Rahane. Brings up the 200 for India. Maybe there is hope yet.
Amidst all the chaos in the first innings and now the second innings as well, it's been a very eventful day so far. One man is standing and fighting a lone battle there. And guess who it is? Again, Ajinkya Rahane. He's been at it consistently through this test match, making a comeback after some time. But he's shown why he's one of India's best batters, getting into great positions, and this one arguably is shot of the day so far.
batting with that heavily padded left index finger as well from the injury in the first innings.
You did the interview with him, Ali, and you asked him about that as well, the finger that's injured, and he said that it's painful, but while batting it is not.
I also ran the risk of nearly adding to the injury because I went to greet him and stuck out my right hand to shake his, and he sort of pulled his hand away and said, no, left hand only.
That's the Australian coming out in you, Ali.
Only 50% of me, Ricky. Six off that over, then India 201 for 5. Cameron Green then. So much talk overnight with the catch he took yesterday. The attack's trying to make an impact with ball here. Well, let's have another look at what became the hot topic of conversation. The catch taken low down. On-field umpires weren't sure. Sent it to TV umpires. No soft signal, so it's all about Richard Kettlesborough's opinion. And what we've learnt overnight is that the third umpires work to guidance. And the guidance says that, and I'm slightly paraphrasing, but we understand that if the fingers are under the ball, if the only element of doubt is the possibility of the ball touching the ground between the fingers, then that catch should be judged a fair one. So Richard Kettlesborough would have looked at every other parameter as well as to judging a fair catch. And that is, has it carried? Has the ball gone into the hand without hitting the ground first? And is there any evidence of the ball touching the ground at any time? So for Richard Kettlesborough, there wasn't for him evidence, conclusive, clear evidence that the ball touched the ground. So his judgment was that there was doubt. Yes, there might have been the possibility, but possibility is not enough to go in favour of the batter. It's almost as if the guidance puts any doubt in favour of the fielding side. No! So Richard Kettlesborough has worked through the guidance in order to come to his decision, and his decision was that it went in favour of Cam Green.
Yeah, so basically what you're saying, Ali, and there's no doubt about it, if you look at the replay, Cam Green probably caught, the ball hit his hand about this high off the ground. And then it looked like as it went down that his fingers were underneath the ball. The doubt was whether the ball actually touched the ground between his fingers there or if it was actually rolled over that way. I think that's where the confusion came. Now, if it only touches the ground with his fingers behind the ball, then that is deemed to be out. If a hand, in fact, if it was actually shown that after the ball actually hit his hand on the foot, was actually shown that his hand went that way and ended up on top of the ball, then that would have been given not out. So that's how they clarified it this morning.
Yeah, absolutely. If it was seen and seen clearly by Richard Kettlesborough that the ball had touched the ground, that would have been deemed. If there's any doubt, then it goes in favour of the fielding side. Just the single off this first over from Green. 202 for 5. Just the single off this first over from Green. 202 for 5.
If you're ready to change lives, as well as your own, then a life-changing life is waiting in the care and support sector. Now hiring at careandsupportjobs.gov.au. Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra. If you're ready to change lives, as well as your own, then a life-changing life is waiting in the care and support sector. Now hiring at careandsupportjobs.gov.au. Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.
Attention, the game is about to begin.
Go, go, go. I need a machete. It's us against them.
$1 Million Island.
Boland off the field. Tell you what, he has made the impact today. 2 wickets in and over. Took half an hour for Australia to break up the partnership between Kohli and Rahane. 2 for 8 in his 5 overs today. Just wonder where that leaves his bowling average just now. It has been under 10 for a large part of his Test career. Beautiful shot once more, and there's a gap through that mid-off region.
Yeah, that's a great shot, and it's probably going to be 4 anyway, regardless of where the field is. But I think where Mitchell Starc is right now in this game and in this spell, he needs a fair bit of protection. And one way they can give him some protection here, when he's bowling around the wicket, he's trying to angle the ball back in to or just outside off stump. And he's looking to bowl full. That's the second drive down the ground in the last 4 or 5 deliveries. He needs his offside field to be set a lot straighter and a lot deeper. Khawaja can be straighter and deeper and bring Marnus Labuschagne from point over to a regulation cover. Because that's what he's actually trying to bowl. He's trying to bowl full and straight and angling back in. If he's bowling over the wicket and angling a ball across the right-hander, then your field can be squarer. But from this angle now, he needs to be bowling to a straighter field. There's a good example there. Look how square Labuschagne is. If he bowls the right line, he's not in the game. If he's angling back in towards off stump, Labuschagne's not in the game. He can go a lot straighter. He can go about 10 or 15 metres to his right. And by putting that guy there, you can then straighten Khawaja up at mid-off, put him deeper, and Nathan Lyon, who's out at deep backward point, is there saving the one anyway. As a change of field happens now, slip comes out, he's going to go over to mid-wicket. So straight away, now he has to bowl even straighter again. Mid-off and cover have to be straighter to give him some sort of assistance.
Just following it up with what Ricky has just said, Australia wouldn't mind this shot being played because this could probably induce the edge that they're looking for. Whereas if the one that goes straight is just going to go straight down the ground for a boundary, you might as well try and stop that. And considering that Mitchell Starc is playing the holding role, they need to set a much straighter field here.
Yeah, you can see that graphic there. That's spot on. That's exactly what I want to do. So the man in the middle there can move 10 metres to his right and also have Nathan Lyon, who's at deep backward point. He can go to a regulation deep point, you know, just 5 metres behind point rather than 50 metres behind point.
India have been searching for partnerships. They've got one which lasted for 51 runs, the second wicket, and then the 4th wicket. It was 86 runs. But then they keep saying 1 brings 2, and that's exactly what happened. Virat Kohli got out, followed by Ravindra Jadeja.
There you go. That's Mitchell Starc again. He's obviously trying to bowl straight. This is what I'd like to see. Exactly what I'd like to see. Marnus Labuschagne, he's actually doing a few warm-ups here too. Just a couple of side stretches in at cover. Trying to get the captain's eye, trying to get a bowl. Actually, just watching Marnus there, he was actually signalling that exact thing that I was talking about. He was just looking at Steve Smith, telling Khawaja to go a little bit deeper and a little bit straighter at mid-off.
206 for 5.
Broke my windscreen. Broke my windscreen. Was me, what can I do?
Well, if it's just a chip, you could get it repaired. With Instant Windscreen's chip repair technology, you might not even need a new windscreen. It'll save you time, money, and it'll help the planet too. So, before that chip turns into a big crack, here's our number.
Cracks in the surface. Haven't played as much of a part in the second innings yet than we thought. The man will be certainly hoping he can make the most of some rough, or any crack is Nathan Lyon. We're going to see some spin for the first time today. Actual start this morning predicted that he would have an increased role to play as this day wore on. Already 2 wickets under their belt this morning. Australia's most successful ever test off spinner. A veteran in terms of this side. How many matches he's played consecutively as well. He just doesn't miss out. He never misses a match. And he's been a match winner so many times.
I actually thought we might have seen him from the other end today. DK were out there early this morning having a look at the wicket. We probably felt there were a little bit more rough outside the right-handers off stump, bowling from the other end.
That's exactly what I said during my pre-show with Haydos as well. I'd love to see Nathan Lyon bowl a lot more from the pavilion end, because there's a lot more rough for the right-hander from that end. But I think the fast bowlers enjoy bowling a lot from that end as well. In the morning, in the warm-ups, in the build-up to the game, KS Bharat put on his pads, he'd come out of bat, and he was practicing playing off spinners, trying to mimic what a Nathan Lyon would do. Raghu was giving him a few throwdowns with just dilly-dolly off spinners, and he's just defending it.
Catch it. A little bit quick, a little bit flatter.
And the remarkable thing about this wicket is outside the right-handers off stump right now. Rahane's batting where he's looking down outside off stump. There are no footmarks there at all. Mitchell Starc's bowled most of his overs from that end, and it's remarkable how little scuffing there has been. One of the great reasons I think Nathan Lyon's been as effective as he has been over the years is the fact that he's had a left-arm fast bowler in his team to create those.
Off the back foot. That's a superb shot from Rahane. Working his way up to the half-century mark.
Rahane has been playing a few shots on the offside against Nathan Lyon through this test match. A lot have been of the front foot, but this one was an absolute exquisite, beautifully played back foot punch, piercing the gap between point and covers.
Man's now dropping back deeper in that cover region.
Catch.
Yeah, just took the one shot for Nathan Lyon to push his cover man that little bit deeper. He's about 10 metres off the fence now at deep cover.
Unable to take a single to retain the strike into that cover region with the fielder pushed back. 212 for 5. Rahane has been something of a story for India in this test match. Time has been out of the side, the 89 in the partnership with Thakur in the first innings. They're looking to him to bat long and deep today. Over by over, get to the lunch break. Try and come out at lunch. Keep these 5 wickets in hand, build a partnership. Just never know where they might be able to take India to. They're a long way away at the moment. Mitchell Starc's played a significant role in helping Australia get to this World Test Championship final. Scott Boland there, his wickets tend to come at significant moments. Not as many as the others, but boy, when he does take them, he makes an impact. Edged and gone! It's the big one for Starc. Now Rahane is out. And Australia take a stride towards that mace.
It's a false shot from Rahane. You can see he's thrown his head back. He's disappointed with himself. That angle from Mitchell Starc has worked. He's tempted Rahane into a big, wide drive outside the off stump. The length wasn't there. The width was. Threw his hands at it. Feather through to Alex Carey again for another catch to the Australian keeper. And Starc gets his man. Rahane goes for 46. India 6 for 212.
As men, we don't yarn much about cancer. We think it could be the end of us. It doesn't have to be like that. If you're not feeling okay, have a yarn with a brother or a healthcare worker. It's okay to talk about cancer.
He knows almost everything.
Quizmaster.
But can a super nerd dance?
The big freeze at the G is here as the Stars take the plunge. Then, the top of the table, King's Birthday Clash. Monday, live and free on 7.
Shardul Thakur really entertained there in the first innings. He's got 3 successive half-centuries in Test matches on this ground. Let this even be too much of a big ask. 4 wickets left for Australia to get.
Yeah, we know he's a fighter. He showed that in the first innings. Here's a replay of the wicket, round the wicket angle from Mitchell Starc. A little bit of extra bounce. As I said, the line was fine to drive, but the length wasn't there. He threw his head back straight away, very disappointed with himself.
Alyssa Healy, wife of Mitchell Starc, has got her own Ashes series to play in later this summer, captaining as well in place of Meg Lanning.
Ricky, when India look back at how this test match has progressed, yes, they lost day 1 completely to Australia. After that, they found a way to get in. But when they look at this last inning and how 3 of their top 5 batters have got out, they're not going to be happy, are they?
No, and then I guess you put the controversy of Shubman Gill on top of that as well. So Rohit Sharma, we wouldn't have been happy with his shot, and Virat probably walking off today wouldn't have been happy with his shot, and then Ajinkya there. And they were the 3 guys really they needed to stand up. They needed their most experienced players to stand up if they were a chance of winning this game. Kohli played well, Rahane played well, Rohit played well, but not long enough.
And add Pujara to that list as well. He's somebody who's always been a thorn in Australia's flesh, and just the kind of shots that they've played when they reflect on what has happened in a crucial test match, the one-off test match, the ultimate test as they call it. They're going to be looking back at that and going, wow, did we miss an opportunity here? And interestingly, the pitch has played at its best on day 4.
And just look at the number of 40s in that scorecard. Getting a start, not managing to get over that half-century mark. It's actually only the third time that 3 of India's top 5 have been out in the 40s. Between 40 and 49, and not managing to get to the half-century mark and onwards. Session by session. Session 1 on day 1 was so significant, wasn't it? And Australia being put into bats under those grey skies. India's certainly expecting, hoping the ball would do much more, and when you put a side into bat, you're hoping that you'll have them nearly all out, if not all out, on day 1.
And in many ways, it's been the story of this cycle so far. The top order batting hasn't really been at its best.
So Australia well on top. How long for these last 4 wickets, and what resistance can India offer? 2-1-2 for 6.
Australia just 4 wickets away from being World Test champions. Had to work slightly harder second time round, but they've got a balanced attack, they've got a good attack. Been aided by a couple of loose shots. There's that fine line between being aggressive and just being reckless outside the off stump. Catching has been good from Australia. With their seam attack, you need to grab well in the slips, and they've done that. Keeper's had a good game. Alex Carey with runs and his glove work. Not easy first time in England. With the wobble, he's done well. So a lot of boxes ticked. It's been a real team performance from Australia.
Yes, and that last wicket for Mitchell Starc will really lift his will lift him up. The confidence will be a lot more, because it's taken him a while to hit his straps. The rhythm wasn't quite there, but sometimes a wicket can make all the difference.
Oh, close, very close. Yeah, plumb from round the wicket, just turning in. That looked absolutely plumb.
He doesn't take time, Richard Illingworth. He's been a spinner himself. He knows the angle from which Nathan Lyon is bowling. He's getting it to spin back like he did with the Rohit Sharma.
Original decision
the finger was up in a flash.
Front foot checked. It's a fair delivery. We have front on spin vision, please. Doesn't look like there's any bat involved there, but could we just confirm that with Ultra Edge, please, when available? Keep it rolling through, please. Keep it rolling through. Yeah. Flat line as the ball goes past the bat. No bat involved. We'll go to ball tracking when ready, please. It's pitching in line, impact in line, and hitting the wickets. We go back to Richard to stay with his original decision of out. You're on screen, signal now.
Yeah, absolutely plumb. Perfect from round the wicket. Drift away, spin in. And too good for Thakur. He goes for a duck to 13 for 7, India.
Celebrities hit the dance floor. But can they dance? Dancing with the Stars starts Sunday, June 18.
Umesh Yadav comes in at number 9. This could end in a hurry. On to the bowlers now with the wicketkeeper batter. Maybe a slip, a short leg, a leg gully. Australia with plenty of runs and plenty of time. First one that's really turned from the pitch and not the rough. It actually took a piece there and it just spun.
Largely against the run of play as well, Nasser. All the dismissals that have come for India this morning have been like that. Been passages of really good batting.
That's the variation. That's why he bowls round the wicket. Both edges. Beat him on the inside edge, LB. Try and beat him on the outside edge as well. 213 for 7. Perfect morning for Australia. Just 3 wickets needed now. Stark continues with this angle round the wicket. Well, that's going to be buzzer. Stark's not going to be happy with that. If you know your bowlers, they don't like going for extra runs, and that's going to be buzzers. And I think it was Cameron Green, it was.
Well, I suppose you have to see the funny side of that. Sure, if you're charging in at 1,000 miles an hour, though, not going to be particularly funny. It might cost him a couple of walks to the chili bin as a bit of punishment.
Yeah, the skipper Cummins went to back the other end and was just sold a bit of a dummy. Well, as in the first innings, Umesh Yadav shows you his off stump. Off stump is your line to Umesh Yadav. He shows you middle and off and leg actually on
all
that
three.
occasion.
All three, Nas, all three.
First innings, just aim for off stump.
Yeah, his feet stay in a teacup. Well, certainly on the saucer anyway. They don't move outside of that. Stuck at the crease, and from a bowling perspective, they love seeing all stumps honing in on the top of off.
A bit of French cricket, isn't it? It's another man coming in into the slip cordon. So it's a tight slip cordon, 4 slips.
Yeah, it's good captaincy. Run's not an issue. Third man comes up. probably go to backward point. Try and keep him on strike. You don't want him just to nick it down to third man for one. So 4 slips and a backward point.
Yeah, it's an interesting move. Certainly not criticising it. I think he has got an option to get out backward point, deeper gully. But it's probably also an attacking option as well to keep him down at third man, Nas, because he's more than likely going to go to the typical tail end default mode, which is swing very hard. Catch the outside edge somewhere in the air. That's why all those men are there. Been an incredible display of bowling as a unit today for Australia. Backs up against the wall to a degree. They always had the scoreboard as their friend, time as their friend as well. But the way Scotty Boland started this day was magnificent. Just constantly asking questions and getting answers against the run of play as well. Some bowler in these conditions, he's going to be a real handful as this summer campaign mounts into an Ashes series.
Solid block, 218 for 7.
At RAC, we saw Western Australians stranded without help, so we changed it. And we've kept on changing ever since. To be there, wherever you need us, whenever you need us. Because we're always changing to keep you moving. RAC, for the better.
When India look back on this game, they will ask themselves, how did we bowl in that first innings? Could we have done anything different when Head joined Smith in the middle? That partnership, those 200s, in the end, turned the game. Yeah, good to see. Good to see him take a risk. Can he get back for 2, though? He tries. Umesh Yadav says no.
I think you'll see the same from Umesh Yadav as well. Take his chances against Lyon.
Yeah, in outfield. He wanted to come back for 2, which is good to see. He's not just thinking of red ink. Oh, short legs waiting. In outfield, you have men in, 3 of them, and 2 for the big slog, leg side.
So which one's it going to be?
If he blocks, short legs in play. If he slogs, cow corner is in play.
There again in that over, he's getting the ball to grip now and turn from that angle that he's bowling from around the wicket.
It will be at least a couple. We'll just take one, maybe. No communication there, really. They've just got to have a chat who's going to take which end. I think Umesh Yadav's got to stay Lions end. And Bharat take the quickies. Good heat map. It's a lot straighter because the amount he's bowled from round the wicket. If he was over the wicket, he'd be looking for the footholes at start. Not really developed, but slightly more outside off stump. Last ball of the over. Some men come in, apart from slog sweep. There we go on the leg side deep. There's one out. Everyone else trying to keep Yadav on strike. And they managed to do that. 220 for 7.
As they've gone all silent, they came in large numbers, hoping for an India fight from Kohli and Rahane. But the double blow, Jadeja, Kohli out in the same over, stunned them into silence. Very passionate crowd, very passionate following wherever the team goes.
Oh, that's a quick bouncer. That's a quick bouncer. Has he gloved it? He has. Brilliant from Carey. What a grab that is. What a game he's having, the Australian keeper.
That's nasty. From Mitchell Starc, you can see his the rhythm's much better. The angle was really good. The catching has been good from Australia today. And the line spot on.
Oh, this is a superb catch. They've done everything right today, Australia. Against the run of play, they've been able to take wickets. And again, so much skill. Mitchell Starc, he loves mopping up the tail like bun on gravy. He's gone for 1, 220 for 8.
In one day, the fight to stay alive
We go in and we fight till the death.
begins.
Medic! Medic!
$1 Million Island starts tomorrow at the special time, 7 o'clock.
220 for 8. Australia now just 2 wickets away from winning this WTC final. Mohammad Shami, the new batter, and that's the last thing he wanted to see. His previous batter just fending one off around about throw tight. ...116 runs and now 6 catches in the game for Alex Carey, and this was a good one. One-handed in that webbing. Excellent grab. Timed the jump perfectly.
And nasty stuff as well from Starc, coming around the wicket into the right-hander. Nishadov giving him a really good look with the stumps.
That's why he's so good with the tail. He creates that angle from around the wicket, can bowl the short stuff, the yorkers. Goes through the tail pretty quickly.
Up and over.
Well, there's a little bit of reprieve for this fan base and following that you talk about, Ravi Shastri. Lovely little uppercut. It's brought just a little hum back to the crowd again.
Yes, they would have entertained thoughts of this game going deep. Well past lunch and tea.
Yeah, we all did. We all thought this game was going to spill into the afternoon session. Seemingly a benign track as we headed into day 4. And even this morning, when we were looking at the track, there wasn't a lot of obvious rough outside right-handers off stump for Nathan Lyon to plough into. So it really came down to the efforts of the quicks, and they've all stood up. In particular, Scotty Boland, 3 for 46. Now Mitchell Starc is coming into his own. Some nasty, sharp stuff, explosive stuff towards the tail.
Past Cameron Green. If anyone can, Cameron Green can, but he doesn't. 2-2-4 for 8. Just over Cameron Green, which isn't easy. He's a big unit.
Well, there's optimism if I've ever seen it. Target of 444. India still need 220 more runs to win.
Oh, now stumping chance. He's lifted his leg. Has he dragged his leg?
Again, smart glove work from Alex Carey.
Fair delivery. TV umpire to director. We have an umpire review for stumping. Front foot is checked. It's a fair delivery. Can we have spin vision, please? Okay, keep that rolling through, please, when we can. Okay, just show me ultra edge when you have it, please, Gavin. Keep that rolling through, please. Yeah, flat line as the ball goes past the bat. Give me your best angle for the stumping, please. Rolling through. Keep it rolling through, please. Keep it rolling through, please. Foot is grounded behind the line when the bails are broken. Ready with my decision for the big screen.
Yeah, not out. Good work from Carey, but good work from Bharat as well. Getting his back leg back in. time to bring a couple up now in the field. And in they come. Could get line a wicket this, the big shot should come, could come. Does come. And does get him a wicket.
Yes, he deserves it. He's a wily customer, Nathan Lyon. Has to get into the act in the second innings of a test match on day 5. Picks up his 3rd wicket here. Bharat saw the field coming up, went for the biggie, and he's not going to miss out. So India just 1 wicket away from a defeat here. 224 for 9.
Watch every Aussie match live and free. Let's take on the world.
The FIFA Women's World Cup starts Thursday, July 20.
224 for 9. Just 1 wicket away, Australia, from winning this World Test Championship. Has been a first-class effort this morning. Total team effort. Catching good, bowling good. Every bowler being involved.
What's got Siraj? Guys.
So Siraj on strike. It's 224 for 9. So 224 for 9. So just 1 wicket needed. Still Mitchell Stark. You can see it's a good team effort in this second innings, especially on day 5. Both the overnight batsmen dismissed in the 40s.
Yeah, you go back at the start of the day and it was Scott Boland, wasn't it, that set things up for the Australians, as he's done so often in his very short Test career. Haydos, you're on earlier just saying how he continually asks questions of the batsman. We did that this morning and ended up being way too good.
Yes, Stark. Oh, that's driven down the ground. Nicely played by Shami. And they're not going to hang around, both these players, to get the opportunity. Going to try and throw bat at the ball.
Just about the shot of the day, Big Dos. We saw some beautiful straight driving from Mahane, but very simple this. Stands nice and still, simple swing of the bat straight through the line, and didn't he like it? Held the pose.
Both these batsmen will expect some short stuff immediately. And he's got that away for 4 as well. Got into good position.
Well, a bit of fun for the fast bowlers. Pretty good at mopping up the tail, Mitchell Stark. The pace, the angle he creates from around the wicket. It's got a little full in the first boundary, and then this one here just helps it around the corner.
And what we're so used to seeing with him when he's bowling to the tail, especially when he's around the wicket, is his ability to bowl a Yorker and hit the base of off stump. Let's see if he's got one of those up his sleeve here for Shami.